Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Astro Imaging channel. I'm Molly, and I'm going to be hosting and also presenting tonight. I finally finished the Imaging Rigs of Texas Star Party video, so I'm going to show that video and also talk about how Texas Star Party went. To look forward to next week, we have David Biggs with us tonight, who's going to be speaking about next week doing deconvolution on solar system images to get the most detail out of them using Big Sky, some software that he's been working on. And so I look forward to that next week. And then the week after that, we have Rod Pommier talking about talking about dark nebula and how they're often misidentified in images. Like if you try to run PixInsight's plate solver, it won't put them in the right place, and it's not PixInsight's fault. They're just not actually recorded correctly. So he's going to talk about that and also imaging dark nebula. Let's see. Yeah, so I say this now, say at the end as well, that we're always looking for speakers. So if something I say during my talk inspires you and you think, I'd love to give a presentation on that particular topic, you can hit up our website, the astroimagingchannel.org, and hit the contact us button and let us know that you're interested in speaking. We're also looking for some folks to come on and help us with the streaming. So right now, Jaime and I are the only two streamers. It's a lot of work for just the two of us, but when you've got 3 or 4, it really takes off the load, and we will teach you how to do that and provide software. So if you're interested in doing that, also hit that contact us button on the astroimagingchannel.org. Let's see. Yeah, and liking and subscribing helps get our content out to more people. It's more visible to them. And of course, linking videos and stuff on cloudy nights also helps get all the really amazing information we get on the show from all of our incredible guest speakers out to everybody in the astrophotography community. So that can help us help you all do better astrophotography by liking, subscribing, and linking our shows on Facebook forum posts and cloudy nights and all that yada, yada, yada. Okay, I think that's all the announcements I wanted to make. So let me share my screen here. It's weird being host and talking and feel like I'm forgetting something. No, entire screen, that screen. Got it, okay. Okay, you guys should be seeing that full screen. Go into my little presenter mode here. Okay. So we will get rolling. So I'm going to talk about Texas Star Party first and do this kind of field report, especially for people who are not familiar with the Texas Star Party. Then you can learn about what it is before I show the video of the imaging rigs of Texas Star Party, where I interviewed a bunch of people to ask them about not just their imaging rig, but why they do astrophotography, how they got into it, why they came to Texas Star Party, tips for amateurs, things like that. So should be a lot of good information in there for a lot of folks. So I went to this year's Texas Star Party. It is in Fort Davis, Texas, which is about 3 hours southeast of El Paso. For reference, I've got the light pollution map here. You can see the light domes of Dallas and Houston and Lubbock. And it's well outside of those in the hill country of Texas. It's nice and dark out there. This year it was April 20th to 27th. It's usually sometime in May, but it kind of rolls back and forth depending on the new moon, of course. So it's kind of early this year. But early means longer nights, but it also means the Milky Way comes up later. So a bit of a draw there. It is a 7-hour drive for me from Albuquerque, which is a huge improvement over the 20-ish hour drive that it used to be coming from Ohio. So that was very nice to be able to make that drive in 1 day instead of 2.5. And attendance was a little bit lower this year than in years prior. The last time I went to Texas Star Party was 2019. Where we had 450 people, I think. This year there was about 250, but they had an unusual year last year with the timing of the solar eclipse, and did a whole special solar eclipse event instead of the Texas Star Party. So now they're just got to kind of build momentum back up. And I don't know how many people are getting back out to Star Parties post-pandemic, but hopefully that number continues to go up. So one of the great things about Texas Star Party is the incredible guest speakers that they get out there. This year they had John Talbot gave a PixInsight seminar. Larry Mitchell, who is a he's an institution at Texas Star Party. He used to have a 30-inch telescope out there, 30-inch Dob, and I heard that he sold it, and I was very sad. But he still has I think it's a 25-inch, so a little easier to wrangle, and still great to look through. He did this year's advanced observing list, which I'll talk about in a bit. We had Tim Russ on, not in the room, but live on Zoom. He's Tuvok from Star Trek Voyager, but he's also an amateur astrophotographer. So he came and talked about how he's gotten into that and all the adventures that he's had in astrophotography and astronomy. We had Stephen James O'Meara, he's a writer for Sky and Telescope for astronomy. I tried to come up with the concise definition of who he is, but he's done so many things that I couldn't. So he's just an incredible guy. And he pretty much discovered the spokes on Saturn's rings, which was awesome, just looking through a telescope when he was in like college, I think. He gave a couple of really amazing talks. We have David Levy. This is the Levy Shoemaker Comet David Levy, the big comet hunter David Levy, who was there in person talking about kind of his life in astronomy, which was awesome to hear about as well. Lots of others, and I also got to give a talk, which is fun. I talked about supernovae and neutron stars and how absolutely insane they are. And it'd be fun to give that talk on here, but it's not really an astrophotography talk, so I'll have to give it on another platform so it gets recorded at some point. So this is all the crap that I brought with me to Texas Star Party this year. I did bring 3 imaging telescopes, plus a DSLR, plus a telescope to look through. So I brought my 9.25-inch Edge HD. I brought my Takahashi 106 on the strain wave mount. I brought my Celestron C8, my first telescope, my good old trusty orange tube, and on my other Ioptron mount. And then I recently got a modified Nikon D7000, so I'm modified for getting more hydrogen alpha, and that's been really fun to play with. I also, at the same time, got a 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 lens and had that riding on the Skywatcher Star Adventurer. And so I was set up on the lower field because a lot more room to spread out, a good spot for astrophotographers. And I now have a visual observing scope that I can bring to star parties and other places. I have a 12-inch f5 Dob from Skywatcher, and it does have very basic encoders on it that communicate with my phone or my Android tablet through Sky Safari. And it is helpful for finding things that I'm having a hard time finding by star hopping, looking through the Telrad, especially a lot of the dim stuff on the advanced observing list. So if you're interested in coming to Texas Star Party, here's some information about it. So there's a number of places that you can stay there. There's, of course, RV, trailer, and tent camping like you're going to have at most of the star parties. But Texas Star Party also has bunk houses that you can stay in. There are family cabins as well, and also motel rooms if you want to be in little nicer accommodations. That's my trailer down there on the lower left with my cute little awning, and it's the best trailer ever. So lots of other activities to do as well. There's visiting the town of Fort Davis, some sites to go see there. It's a historic town. You can go to the McDonald Observatory. The Texas Star Party arranges a couple of tours during the week, kind of behind the scenes, getting to see some of their really amazing telescopes up there. I got to drive this telescope. I got to hold the hand controller and make it move one year back in 2019, which was super fun. You can go see the mysterious Marfa lights. So the town of Marfa, which is, I think it was 30 miles away nearby, there's a spot where you can go watch, and at different times of year, different times of the night, there's no real pattern. These mysterious lights kind of appear low on the horizon. I haven't seen it myself, but kind of a mysterious phenomenon that goes on over there. If you're into ham radio, which there's sort of a cross section of astronomers who are into ham radio, there's a ham radio meetup there. I believe this is the building that burned down a couple years ago, but they're working on getting that rebuilt, but they still have the ham meet. Also birding, because there tends to be a strong overlap between astronomy and birding as well. There's usually a group that goes and does that during the week as well. You can go visit one of the very long baseline array telescopes at a ranch nearby. And then, of course, there's doing the astronomy part, which you can't forget about that. So stay up all day, stay up all night, drink lots and lots of coffee, do lots and lots of things. This is my parents came out one year, which was a lot of fun. And so it's quite a lot of space there. There's 3 different observing fields. This is the upper field here. In this picture, a lot more sparse this year than in prior years. Usually it's jam-packed, but still a lot of energy and stuff going on up on the upper field. This is the middle field. Yeah, I think this picture was from this year. Yeah, Scott Harrington posted that. Yeah, so the middle field, and then the lower field, which is really good for people who either kind of want to be by themselves or are doing astrophotography, because your light can spill out a little more and people won't complain about it. And a little more spread out down there, especially if you want to tent camp on the field. This is a good place to do that. So the Star Party usually has several observing lists, and I took on the advanced observing list this year. Larry Mitchell designed it, gave an incredible talk about quasars, because they had a couple of quasars on the list, and some physics around how redshift works and things like that. And it was a very challenging list. I had a whole variety of objects. It's called a little bit of everything. I did manage to earn the pin, which was very exciting. So some of the things on there, globular clusters, from some of the brighter ones to some dimmer ones that were hard to make out. Galaxy groups like the Leo Minor galaxy chain, which I unfortunately did not spot. I didn't spot it in my 12-inch, but I'm looking at my observing notes that I pasted into the slide comments here. But using a night vision optic from Deep Sky Dude, Will Young, who was there, I could see it pretty well through his, actually, I think it was his friend's 25-inch f4 with the night vision optic. Could finally see that. Some super thin galaxies, some of these really kind of needly galaxies. Emission nebula, like the Dragon's Egg Nebula was on there, which is quite low in the sky. I was unable to make it out, but I did see a galaxy that was nearby, which was in the constellation Ara, which is a really cool thing about Texas Star Party, is that it's pretty far south. It's about 29 degrees north latitude, so you can see things like Omega Centauri and Centaurus A and some other things that you kind of are usually out of reach for a lot of people in the northern hemisphere. Some dark nebulae were on the list. Barnard 68 was one of the ones I was able to spot. Just a really inky black spot in the sky that almost looks like a void, but is just a thick dust cloud sitting in front of the dense background of stars in the Milky Way. A couple of asterisms, like Webb's Wreath here. It's a very small asterism, just this little circle of stars. It is quite pretty and was pretty easy to spot in my 12-inch. Yeah, was fun to look at. A red dwarf star, Lalande 21185, which I noted in my observing notes looked yellow, so I don't know. I guess it's a red dwarf. Some protoplanetary nebulae. I did not spot the Boomerang Nebula, unfortunately. And like I mentioned before, quasars. So this particular one is 23.5 billion light years away. It's magnitude 15, and I couldn't spot it in my 12-inch, but I could in the 25-inch f4. It took a lot of work to match up the pattern in the notes that he gave us, this thick document full of finder charts and notes about it. But me and my friends who were looking at it, we did finally decide that we were indeed looking at it. So that was quite exciting. Then, of course, there's the Great Texas Giveaway. So every Good Star Party has to have some kind of raffle drawing. And for this one, you get your door prize ticket, and that's the only ticket. So everybody's got an equal chance to win some of their awesome prizes. And this year, a young girl won the main prize, which was ZWO C Star S30. So that was just perfect. And everybody was very excited about that. We also got a surprise
Molly,
rocket launch. Yeah,
there's a question. Did you use encoders or you use star hop to your objects?
I star hopped where I could, but if I wasn't able to quite find it that way, then I did use the encoders. But the encoders, I still have to star hop with the encoders because they're not very good. So I go to a bright star, I calibrate it. I go to the next star, I calibrate it. So I'm still kind of star hopping. Just the last movement, I get a little more guidance um, than without them.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I did the best I could with star hopping, and then I used the encoders, and I finally just went to the 25-inch. And trust me, just the challenge of lining up the field and making sure you're looking at the thing, it took some significant effort just to do that. So there was much
The
effort
the
put forth.
the rules say that it's okay to do it though.
Yes, it does. Yeah, yeah. Obviously, prefer star hopping, but it is acceptable. Yes. Yes, we had a surprise rocket launch. This was actually out of Cape Canaveral, even though we were in Texas, which was a surprise. And it turned out that it had already completed one orbit when we were seeing it do this. I don't know if it was a fuel dump or it wasn't the boost back burn because that happens immediately, like shortly after launch. This was a Falcon 9 launch from Cape Canaveral. Yeah, it took us a little while to figure out which launch it was because the timing was kind of weird. But this really eerie, just kind of cloud rising in the sky where you could see in the telescope, you could see several dots as it was releasing some of the satellites as it was going by. Yeah, really, really cool to watch. And then I tried for the first time imaging sprites. Sprites is a phenomenon associated with lightning, and you need the right conditions to be able to spot them. Namely, you need to be able to be a couple hundred miles away from a thunderstorm and have it be clear between you and said thunderstorm and not have landscape in the way. So Texas Star Party is a great place to observe sprites from. There was thunderstorms almost every night in Dallas, totally clear weather over the Star Party. And so I set up my D7000 to try to pick up the red a little better and got quite a few pictures of sprites, which was very exciting. And then Deep Sky Dude, Will Young, he has a night vision optic that I mentioned earlier, and you can just hold your phone up to it. And you can also put it in the telescope, which is really fun. And this is a little compilation video of some of the sprites that I caught on my cell phone, where I show it in real time and then slowed down 10 times. So there was the real time one, there's the slowed down one, real time, and slow. That one was cool. It's like a firework. It wasn't quite lined up on the optic for this one, but it was a really good one. Little one there. And they're quite an altitude above the thunderstorm, because you can see the thunderstorm's kind of there on the horizon. They're much higher in the sky. This one's a really good one. Sailors for years and years were seeing this out on the oceans, and everybody thought they were crazy. But it was finally caught on camera from the ISS and finally proved that they were a real phenomenon and not like people's imaginations or being drunk or whatever. So it's a relatively poorly understood phenomenon that's still being studied, but very, very cool to witness. And I was able to see two of them naked eye. They're quite dim. They had kind of a pinkish color to my eye, but I was able to see a couple of the brighter ones naked eye, which was really cool. And yep, so that's the Texas Star Party 2026 is May 10th through 17th. And so at this point, I'll go ahead and play the video. Give me a little bit to get changed over here.
Hang on
Yeah.
before you play the video.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how much it cost? And it's, what is it, 7 days?
Yeah, so it's 7 days. It depends on what kind of accommodation you're doing. So if you're tent camping or trailer camping with hookups or staying at the motel, they also have a meal service. They have a kitchen. You can get lunch and dinner, and you can either get the meal plan or not. And so it can be expensive. It can be cheaper depending on what you do. The registration fee isn't too much. It's mostly paying for the accommodation at the ranch.
Now, as I remember, and that's where I met you. I remember probably 2019. I don't remember, but um, uh, it was a dude ranch. It's
Yeah.
at what used to be a dude ranch, and I don't know if it continues, but the food service was reportedly, well, was very good. I mean, it was really good meals.
You certainly get a lot of food. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
and everything else like that. So it's something that it was famous for. I don't know if that's continues through the years and after COVID and all that other stuff as things happen, but
yeah,
I
it was
just
still
remember
good this
that.
year. It's it's mass produced. Like, they got a lot of people to feed, but it's still good stuff. And yeah, so it can be. I don't remember exactly what I ended up paying total, but a couple $100 for the camping, and then a couple few hundred more for the food service. But registration, I think, isn't too much. It's just like the accommodation that gets added on top of that.
And a lot of people, and
oh, we lost Alex. Were there any other questions on YouTube, Eric, while we wait for Alex to get back here?
I was just saying that
No, I don't
lot-
see any other questions.
Okay.
Molly, a lot of
Yes.
people do go into town and sleep. The town's
true.
about 4 or 5 miles away.
Yeah, the town's pretty close by. I think it's like 15-minute drive. And there are there's at least one hotel there that I know of, maybe two. There's like a historic hotel there. People do enjoy staying over there for sure. If you really don't want to, if you really want to not camp or glamp, then you can stay in town.
Did you go to Marfa while you were there by any chance?
I've not been over to Marfa. I usually, I'm running my astrophotography gear. I'm busy talking to people, busy observing. So yeah, I try not to leave the ranch at night. And I haven't made it out to some of the things like to see the Marfa lights. All right. Anything else before I play the video?
No, you're good.
All right. Okay, let me share the Chrome tab. Make that full screen. And it's about 19 minutes, and I hope you guys enjoy.
My name's Ron Lewandowski. I'm from a place called Ivins, Utah. I do astrophotography. In fact, I don't even own an eyepiece. I have 2 observatories in my backyard and a pier that I welded.
David Stubbington. I'm actually not in a club at all. I just tend to run the rigs out of my front yard most of the time. I live just north of Fort Worth, a place called Keller. Skies aren't too bad there, maybe Portal 7 straight up, but I've got DFW Airport off to my right, and that's just a disaster.
My name is Greg Jones. I'm from Dallas, and I'm with the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas.
My name is Jesse Nunez. I'm from Landrum, South Carolina, and I'm a member of the Roper Mountain Astronomers Club.
It's a long drive.
Yes, but I was born and raised in Marfa, and I still have a house there, so
Okay.
I normally set up at McDonald Observatory in the parking lot.
Joe Belden, and I'm a member of the North Georgia Astronomy Group, and then as well as Wisconsin Observers.
Name's Steve Kaiser, in the same Texas Astronomy Society up in Dallas, and I live up in Flower Mound, just north of DFW Airport there.
John Bora from Las Vegas and a member of the Las Vegas Astronomical Society.
My name's Justin Doctor. I'm actually not a part of a club, because I'm from South Dakota, so I kind of just freelance my own stuff. So,
How long have you been coming to Texas Star Party for?
This is my first year.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What attracted you?
I've always wanted to come, and then a lot of times with my work schedule, it was just never, timing wasn't right.
wife said, "You should look for cabins, and let's go." And I said, "Okay." So we're kind of last minute attendees.
Okay.
But it was awesome.
This is my first year. Right. I've done the Eldorado Star Party a couple of times. This is the first time here.
How have you been enjoying it?
Oh, it's great. It's great. It really is nice. Very, lots of people. Very good atmosphere.
It's the first time down here for the Texas Astronomy Star Party. I tried getting in a couple years ago when they were doing a different lottery system for cabins, and didn't quite make it for that one. So this time they had it opened up and managed to get a cabin to keep everybody comfortable while we're down here.
Yeah.
This is my second year. First year was 3 years ago in 2022, so second year here.
This 2019 was like my first year back after I was here back in the 80s. Halley's Comet era.
This is my first attendance of Texas Star Party, and it's been awesome. I would recommend it to anybody.
I retired and I thought, I need something to do. And I'm technically based, and this is a technical hobby.
Well, I used to do visual with a Celestron C8 back in the 80s, and then I kind of stopped for a long time and then got back into it after someone showed me some Milky Way shots. And so I went from basically, not doing amateur astronomy for a while and jumped back in. Got this real quick. I actually started with an 80mm refractor a few years ago, but then quickly got into this. Really enjoy it.
Sometimes it's like a love-hate relationship. Things work, things don't work. Then you first start out. I started out with film back in 1994 or 93, and then I got excited with the cookbook camera back in the years in CD245, and kind of got hooked into it. But then there's a lot of things to learn about pixel size, so I was shooting with a Biology 10-inch f10. And then realized that wasn't really optimized for the pixel sizes. And back then there was no internet or YouTube videos or anything, so it kind of did it with a bunch of trial and error and persistence. And now it's getting a lot easier, but the mounts are getting more complicated.
How long have you been doing astrophotography for?
Probably about 15, maybe 20 years. With astronomy, I started when I was a teenager. Just had a little 4 1/4 inch reflector. No guiding, no anything else. It was all visual and stuff. But as the years progressed and the equipment got better, it was easier to get stuff that was easy to control and everything that way.
So I first started as a photographer, and I thought, I've got this 200 to 400 Canon. I got a 600mm Canon, and I thought, could I use that as a telescope? I didn't have a motor. So then I configured it with the help of the guys at the Roper Mountain Club, and then I bought the 2600, attached it, and it gives me a nice wide field of view, plus it's variable. About a year ago I decided I need to get something longer, focal length, and so voila. And I plan to get a reducer, so I have 1,000, 700, and now and 200 to 400. So.
Awesome.
I think that'll keep me busy for a long time.
Yeah, tell us about your rig.
Well, it's a 140mm refractor with a mono camera on the back. With one camera, the ASI 6200, full frame mono camera. A filter wheel with the 7 different filters. A German equatorial mount. This is a Mach 1, Astrophysics Mach 1, a sturdy gear. A mini computer on top, and that runs the acquisition software. Nina is the acquisition software that I use. And when I'm at a Star Party, I just Ethernet that into a laptop, desktop from the laptop up to here, and monitor and control everything. And that single power cable comes up through the mount, and then up to this distribution block here. These are the Anderson power pole connectors. So this is the input power. It's just distributed to all these other connectors. one going to the camera, and then others are going to like the mini computer. This is a Pegasus Astro power box, and what it's doing for me primarily is the dew heater. This is just a 19 volt converter to power the mini computer. The autofocuser, off-axis guider here, 7-position filter wheel, tilt adjustment,
Oh, yeah.
the Gerd-Newman tilt adjuster.
It's 1600, and I got the encoders on it.
Okay.
And because everybody's talking about the new thing is unguided, so I wanted to see what that was all about. I did get this used, but I see they have it marked up. It's a lot more expensive now. But my wife has an expensive hybrid as well, so it's kind of mutual. Very heavy mount, but the one thing over the years, as far as that, I agree with, you can never have too much of a mount if you can personally take care of it, because you won't have to worry about vibrations, wind, and astrophysics. And that is very, I just love them. Also do Paramount as well. I'll admit I like T-Point still better than APCC. Just the learning curve. I'm not running a Moravian Moravian C5100, which adds more complication for people that want to upgrade to bigger format. You need a bigger computer to crunch the PixInsight because the files are a lot bigger. And secondly, the image circle, not all telescopes are going to be able to cover that big chip, but the AP130 fits the tab. I waited over 7 years for it. Absolutely, it's amazing stuff. Look, it's an i5, just all it's doing is running. I got APCC on there. I have I use for polar alignment SharpCam. Absolutely, like, it's worth the money, and I've confirmed the pointing accuracy with T-Point and also APC, and it says no movement required. So at the end of the day, if you can get that, it's perfect.
So basically it's a ASCAR 103 APO, ASI 2600 with ASI rig. This one is a Celestron Edge HD 8-inch on EQ6 Pro mount, and I'm running an ASI 533.
I have a Takahashi UQ, it's 104mm f5, and I had a Takahashi mount that I just sold, and I purchased this ZWO AM5 mount to replace it. The only thing is this lady here is going to have to teach me to do PixInsight because it's the most opaque software I've ever tried to use.
Ron convinced me to get another scope, so I got this Questar 7, which is a lot easier to carry around. The mount is a ZWO mount, also very easy to carry around and set up. And since I got that, to make the whole process easier and to share imaging with as many people as possible, I went to the cameras. In fact, I did get a Melicam before I went to the cameras. I did go to a Melicam, and for the same reason, because you have a monitor and people can stand around and look at the images, and it's just a lot more convenient because you share individually through the eyepieces, and especially with little kids, the first thing a little kid wants to do is grab the eyepiece and pull it to their eye, and then there you are. Now you got to set it up all over again. So that's what I do, and I enjoy it very much.
How have you been enjoying that scope? I know it's a new, kind of new.
The one feature I liked about it, you had to buy these flatteners because the outside of a lot of the images, this one does not require one. And I have, so far, I think I'm at 78 gigabytes of data this weekend, and every image all the way to the edge is just flat, just nice. So I'm super happy with the product.
How have you been enjoying the AM5?
It's working okay. The one thing I found out is you have to set the guiding section of the ZWO ASI Air Plus. You have to set the exposure about a half a second. I've had it. I'm traditionally used to about 3 or 4 seconds, and a half a second, it just didn't seem like that would be even work well. So I'll try that tonight and see if the guidance improves.
So it's a little 92mm triplet refractor, and then I've got a ASI 2400, so full frame camera on that, and then running that with the ASI Air, so I can run that from the iPad and set it up, and it handles all the controls. And the nice thing about, I've got a RST 135, it's one of the harmonic drives. And I used to have a Celestron CGX, which weighed like 4 times that.
How long have you had this mount for?
You're good. Let's see, about 2 years, I guess now.
How you liking it?
Love it, yeah.
This is a relatively newer William Optics Pleiades 68 scope, a ASI 2600 one-shot color camera on the back. And for here, I got dual band, narrow band filter, HA03. So, and then this is actually my first mount I ever got back in 2016. Good old Orion Atlas Pro, and it's still going strong. So, and this is my primary wide field rig here. And then I run a B-Link mini PC. That actually doubles as a counterweight too. So this one's my longer focal length rig, going for galaxy work. It's got a Stella Lyra RC8 scope. It's just a different variant of the GSO ones. This I also have a ASI 2600. This is a monochrome version. I'm running a 7-position filter, LRGB, and then I have an HA and O3 filter on that one as well. I had a couple modifications done. Had a back plate made on this. One of the problems with the RC8s is the focuser is attached to the same holding cell at the mirrors, and it causes flex. So this plate decouples this from that mirror so that pop is fixed. And then I have an aftermarket Bader diamond steel track focuser on that one.
Yeah, tell us about your tent setup.
So this is from Starpoint Australis out of Australia. It's a relatively newer product that they've started coming out with. I use my ice fishing tent as a warm room over the control room, so to speak. So it's kind of my little quick portable service car.
That's awesome. What are you imaging tonight?
Good question. I may just do some more, maybe M81. I like to, from here, I like to shoot some of the galaxies and stuff. Because in Dallas, I have to use so many filters to be able to do it all. It's real easy to do the nebulas and everything with the filters, but there's not much you can do with filters on shooting galaxies. So that's why I've been shooting those mainly while I'm down here.
This weekend I'm shooting LRGB. I've been imaging M51 on this rig, and I've been playing M82 on that one, and do something different tonight, but I haven't made up really what I'm going to do. I've got an Excel spreadsheet that says this is what I'm going to try and get at. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Tonight, I'll be finishing up the Whirlpool Galaxy in 51, and also the Southern Pinwheel Galaxy in 83.
What do you like to use to process your images?
PixInsight. As I said, I'm a photographer, and I use Photoshop and Lightroom. And for one reason or another, I wasn't getting much accomplished with my imaging. But they finally said, you really need to just try PixInsight. It's specifically made for Astro.
What software do you like to process with?
PixInsight all the way.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What software do you like to process with?
Well, processing, I use mainly Photoshop. Well, the Deep Sky Stacker and Photoshop is what I usually process with. I don't use PixInsight, and just haven't gotten into that.
Yeah.
Start with something small, like an 80mm refractor, and then see how you like that, and get familiar with the process before diving into something like this.
Don't need expensive equipment. The little C-Star S50 or the Dwarf or whatever it is, try that first and see if you really like it, and you can put up with getting out in the middle of the night and do all the rest of those great things. Because unfortunately people buy expensive stuff.
I would say just to keep at it. When I started, it was very difficult. I would say my success to failure rate at the beginning was probably 25% success, 75% failure. You can just keep at it. Don't ever give up. Just keep asking for advice, keep researching online, and eventually it gets easier, and it's absolutely amazing. I would choose any other main thing for my hobby.
Yeah, start small. When really start easy, go with the C-Star or one of those things that, you set it up, you push the button, and it lines itself up, and you're ready to start taking pictures and things. But that's probably the easiest way to get into astrophotography that way. Gotten a whole lot easier than the software available out there. So you get all sorts of different free software.
I think the biggest thing I benefited from was making the decision to join an astronomy club, and then participating in the star parties, and walking around and asking them questions and then showing them what I already had. And then I asked them, how can you help me work my way into it without having to go crazy price-wise.
What's been your favorite part of this week?
Just being able to get some dark sky images. So I've kept the scope very busy all week.
Meeting different people, you know, and that we're all kind of have the similar interest. Just exciting to talk about how we migrated and what keeps us in this hobby. The coolest event is when that young girl won that Sea Star. I just thought that was awesome.
I really like the dark skies, obviously. It's a little bit darker than back home in South Dakota, and the dry air makes the seeing so much better. And then I love the terrain too, the location that's at here in the Davis Mountains.
This star party, although we have star parties in our club, I've so easily made so many friends and exchanged so much contact information. And even though some of them are already gone, they already send me well wishes for my last night. It's like golf, because I'm a golfer also, but there's a social aspect of astrophotography. So the communications, the camaraderie that you establish, and the communications, just talking, meeting people. And then of course, when you're in a Bortles 2 site, I mean, the imaging is just fantastic. So I will be back probably every year for as long as I can.
All right.
Molly, you know, the first question is, who was your photographer?
I recruited a helper. It was Scott Harrington, who writes for Sky and Telescope. So we bridged the rivalry between astronomy and Sky and Telescope.
Oh, that's nice. There was a question, if you go into town or you stay away from your rig, then is it safe there, or do you got to pack it all up, or what do people do?
At the star party? Yeah, it's people feel pretty safe leaving their equipment out there. I don't think there's ever. I mean, people ask this question a lot, and you ask the staff, ask other people, and there's been very few instances across every star party I've been to where anybody has a recollection of somebody's equipment being touched or stolen or anything like that. Really, the bigger worry, especially at Texas Star Party, is the dust devils. Every year, equipment gets knocked over that's not tied down well enough, or the wind catches the rain cover and makes it a sail, knocks it over. So really, the dust devil's the bigger concern. But yeah, people leave their equipment out there, and there's not a problem.
Yeah, I'll second what Molly's saying. I've been going to astronomy events for many, many years. Yeah, Alex McConaughey could also chime in on this, because, you know, decades of going to many events, it is a rare occurrence where something gets stolen, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, I think the important thing is cover everything so that it's not out on display and it's not out in the sun. Tie it all down, including the covers, because the covers add a lot of sail area and can therefore make things blow over easily. But as far as problems with the people, it's just not one of those things.
Everybody who's there is also an astronomer. You don't have members of the public at the majority of star parties, and ones that do, it's like a special public night. It's just other astronomers, and you know, sometimes their spouses, occasionally a child or two. Were there other questions? And you guys could turn your videos back on if you want.
No, I don't see any more. I think we're good.
Okay. Well, this the imaging rigs of Texas Star Party video will go live as its own video. I think I said it for either 8:15 or 8:30. So I've got that scheduled. So if you want to watch just that portion or share that portion in 4K, then that will be available shortly. Yeah, so again, next week we have David Biggs with us to talk about software that he's written for doing deconvolution on planetary, solar system, lunar imaging. And if you're interested in helping out on the crew of the show as a streamer or helping with social media or hosting or any of those things, we've recruited a couple, and we would like to recruit a few more. If you would like to give a presentation on here, you can hit the astroimagingchannel.org and go to the contact us button, send us an email. One of us will get back to you, and like and subscribe, like they say. All right.
Molly, you did a great job showing us all those rigs.
Yeah.
I really like your enthusiasm, the way you talk to people. And then afterwards, it's a lot of work to put it all together. So congratulations. You did a good job.
So were you the producer, the video editor? And
Yes.
producer?
Yeah. I took all the cell phone clips and mished and mashed them together in a way that made some kind of sense, and got some music and put that all together. It's fun. It's a laborious process, but the end product is worth it. So
Yeah, I think you captured some of the feeling of what Texas Star Party is all about too.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except you didn't
Hey,
get a dust
Vernon.
devil.
Vernon just said, as an introvert, star parties are not on my radar. Vernon, you can't be more introverted than me, because I'm like about as introverted as one can get. And it's really hard for me to do the kinds of things that Molly did, get out and talk to people and all that other stuff. But seriously, there's just so much to learn, and you don't even have to actually talk to the people. I mean, you saw all the things that Molly showed you.
Yeah.
You could have been there, like standing next to the cameraman, learning all that stuff yourself, and you wouldn't have had to talk to anybody. So, like I said, introversion's not a problem. Go to a star party. They're great.
One thing you got to
Yeah,
remember too is that a lot of astronomers, a lot of us are nerds of one variety or another, right? So a lot of introverts here.
Well, I'll also say, I mean, I like to dive, and you don't go diving alone, and you do it for safety, So I would say that if you want to go to someplace really remote, definitely be out there with other people. You never know what might happen. You could, your car could break down. I have like a laundry list of things that I have seen go wrong with individuals at star party or just stargazers in general. And being out there alone is just not a good idea.
And if you take a friend or a spouse, then you have somebody you can kind of hold on to as you navigate the star party.
That's right.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else? All righty. Well, I think with that, we will call it a night. Jaime, take us out.
No
Good night,
worries.
everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good
We'll
night.
Good night.
hopefully see you all next week.
Bye.
See you next week.
Good night.